we want to retain existing jobs and possibly create new ones.
Post-COVID-19 Inter-Ministerial Committee on Job Creation Strategy set to submit report.
COVID-19 is real. We should observe social distances.
COVID-19 patients get discharged as more tests negative across the states.
We have over 290 IDP camps in Nigeria with a population of about 2.3 million people.
Federal government continues distribution of relief materials to the vulnerable as part of measures to cushion the effect of COVID-19. Plus, rage of fire in Abuja and burning Kebbi. Good evening and welcome to the news at 9 on NTA. I am Jumba Yusuf. Reading with me tonight, I have Dr. Ogunyame in Lagos, while Musa Abubakar will be joining us later from Sokoto. Thanks for joining us. We'll begin with the NCDC update. 35 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported. Records from the NCDC indicate that 19 of the new cases are in Lagos, 9 in FCT, 5 in Kano, and 2 in Oyo. As at 10:30 p.m. 16th April, there are 442 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in Nigeria. 152 have been discharged, with 13 deaths so far recorded. The World Health Organization says coronavirus cases in Africa could hit 10 million in 6 months. Joyce Ometu has an update or an overview of the pandemic worldwide.
As governments around the world consider lifting lockdown measures, the coronavirus numbers remain grim. The Johns Hopkins University tally collated on Friday as at 6 p.m. shows that COVID-19 infections globally has now reached 2,219,314, with a death toll of 149,900. Chinese authorities in Wuhan, in a major revision of its data, say the number of deaths were 50% higher than previously reported. The total number of deaths in China is now 4,632, an increase of more than 1,200. News of the amended death toll came as the British government extended its lockdown measures to at least another 3 weeks. Britain's death toll from the coronavirus has reached 14,576. Meanwhile, the German health minister said the country's outbreak is now under control after a decline in infection rates. He says the number of patients who have recovered is much higher than the number of daily infections. 4,193 people have died in the country. In the meantime, the World Health Organization has warned that Africa could become the next epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tally by Worldometer as a 6 p.m. revealed that the continent has 19,606 confirmed cases, 976 deaths, and 4,769 recoveries. South Africa has recorded 14 more deaths as a result of coronavirus, bringing the total to 48. While Djibouti has reported 156 new cases in the last 24 hours, its largest spike in numbers in a single day. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thank you, Joyce. As the federal government intensify efforts to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the country, infected persons who have been receiving treatment are beginning to leave isolation centers for their homes. Elizabeth Omori reports on patient discharge in some parts of the country.
5 out of the 15 confirmed cases of COVID-19 currently receiving treatment at isolation centers in Edo State have been discharged, having tested negative and met the necessary criteria. Uduak Obong Achibong reports that the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Patrick Okundia, disclosed this at a press briefing in Benin City.
5 out of our confirmed cases that are currently receiving treatment have tested negative. They have met criteria for discharge and have so been discharged, while another one is currently being prepared for discharge.
In Kwara State, Raliat Ibrahim reports that the state government has discharged 2 of its 4 COVID-19 patients after they have tested negative. 5 members of their families who were also at the state's isolation center have also been discharged.
The is real. We should observe social distances. We should stay at home and make sure we don't infect each other.
Similarly, the Kaduna State Ministry of Health has announced the discharge of 3 patients who have recovered from COVID-19. The 3 patients are among the 6 persons that tested positive in the state. Meanwhile, 23 isolated persons in Benue State test negative for COVID-19. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Now, with the growing cases of Nigerians who have been treated for coronavirus and discharged, the Presidential Task Force says the recovery rate indicates that the infection is not a death sentence. 1 month after the inauguration of the task force, its chairman and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says Nigerians should keep faith with the fight against the pandemic as there is more work to be done. Mitara Ekpen reports.
17th of March 2020.
Taking stock of Nigeria's fight against coronavirus 1 month after its inauguration, the Presidential Task Force believes its strategy of a single national response has been instrumental to increase national capacity for testing, treatment, and management of the pandemic.
This is a war with a vicious enemy, and our goal is to ultimately flatten the curve. Recent data released by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has shown a rise in the number of cases in Kano. The Presidential Task Force will visit the state to evaluate the state of readiness and to guide the authorities in the management of the situation.
Infected persons need not hide themselves at home until their condition deteriorates, that they have to be rushed to the hospital in critical state. Some among the fatalities we have had may have been saved if they presented earlier rather than at the last minute.
Our plan is to decentralize testing completely, improve the turnaround times at state levels by 50%.
The task force, however, warns purveyors of fake news and misleading content on social media to refrain from jeopardizing efforts to flatten the curve of the pandemic.
Please listen to the NCDC. Listen to the Ministry of Health, listen to the World Health Organization. Don't be misled by anybody.
People that are within states that are under lockdown are strongly advised to stay where they are and to stop moving out of these states.
As the 2-week extension of the restriction order in Abuja, Lagos and Ogun states affords the Nigeria Center for Disease Control time to intensify contact tracing, sample collection and testing for coronavirus, government agencies and private bodies involved in distributing palliatives were advised to stick to the rules of social distancing. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
The Economy Sustainability Subcommittee on Job Creation for Youth and Women involving 5 ministries is set to submit its report on post-COVID-19 job creation and sustainability strategies to President Buhari Monday next week. Emmanuel Anyimiro has the details.
This is a crucial meeting to put Nigeria back on track after the COVID-19 lockdown, which is currently taking its toll on economies, incomes and jobs all over the world. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a recent national broadcast, directed some ministries to jointly develop a comprehensive policy for a Nigerian economy functioning with COVID-19. And now, the policy is fast being harmonized.
The target being that post-COVID, we want to retain existing jobs and possibly create new ones. In fact, some say that if the recession persists for a long time, that becomes depression. And so we don't want it in Nigeria.
Ngige equally said there is synergy among the 5 ministries to focus on involvement of the informal sector, particularly the small and medium-scale enterprises in the scheme of things.
We are going to engage MAN, we are going to engage NASIMA, and of course we are going to engage the Umbrella Employers Association or Union in Nigeria, which is NECA, so that we work together and see how we can stem the job losses. See also how, if an organization is saying, I cannot keep more than 400, how we can all discuss. But we don't want disengagement, we want to create more jobs.
Ministers of Communications and Digital Economy, Trade, Commerce and Investment, Youth and Sports Development, Women Affairs and Labour are in the Economic Sustainable Subcommittee. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
And the Rivers State government has highlighted strategies put in place to ensure that the state is free completely from COVID-19. Governor Nyesom Wike at a news conference in Port Harcourt said, though some of the measures are painful, they are in the best interest of the people. Correspondent Ogidi Nyekwere has the details.
The briefing by the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike centered on the progress made in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 and the new policy direction the state is pursuing. The governor said that all the precautionary measures adopted by the state, ranging from the closure of boundaries to social distancing, have helped to contain the virus.
A lady who was positive, and that lady was taken to the treatment center. And after the treatment, she became negative, and that lady was discharged. The second case, which was positive and was taken to the center, from the information I have, has tested negative and will be discharged this morning.
Governor Wike said the state is also distributing palliatives to cushion the hardship caused by the measures adopted. He said so far, 5 local government areas have received, while distribution is still ongoing. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
Nigeria has received delivery of vital health supplies from the United Nations to support the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The report.
The supply is made up of 10,000 test kits, 15 oxygen concentrators, and various personal protective equipment, vaccines, kits, and other vital health supplies will support the Nigerian government's COVID-19 response plan and UNICEF's work with children and families in Nigeria. The supply will also support the government of Nigeria through the National Center for Disease Control to prevent the response to COVID-19 pandemic in affected states across the country. The supplies are co-financed by the European Union and IHS Nigeria, the Nigerian subsidiary of IHS Towers. Additional COVID-19 response supplies are expected in a UN joint flight to be delivered to Nigeria in the coming days. The United Nations Resident Coordinator in Nigeria, Edward Cullen, says to limit the spread of the coronavirus, it is important to test as many people as possible, especially those with recent travel history and those who came into contact with travelers. These test kits will support Nigeria's drive to control the transmission of COVID-19 infections and support the government's ongoing strong efforts to protect the country from an escalating pandemic. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus in Nigeria in late February, the UN has been supporting the government of Nigeria to respond to the pandemic through
risk communications and community engagement, infection prevention and control, epidemiology, surveillance and management of coronavirus cases, working with government and other partners. In Abuja, doing Dia NT News.
The People's Republic of China, in contribution towards the implementation of a coordinated response to the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, has donated another set of medical supplies. A statement by the Chinese embassy says the new donation was handed over at the cargo wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The items were handed over by Li Yong, the Chinese counselor, on behalf of the Chinese government, and received by Abraham Yakubu, the Deputy Director for International Cooperation, Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. The items include 1,500 pieces of respiratory masks, 10,000 pieces of surgical mask, 1,750 pieces of disposal, surgical gown, 350 pieces of infrared thermometer, 1,750 pairs of medical goggles. Others include 9,750 pairs of gloves and 9,750 pairs of shoe cover. The items are the second batch of medical supplies from the government of China. Now, joining me to discuss these and many more via Skype from London is Dr. Olorunda Rotimi, and he's joining us via Skype. Good evening and welcome to Network News. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, Nigeria, as a developing country, is doing so much to avoid community transmission. Can you tell us from your experience in London and what has happened and the escalated number of patients in London now? What can we do in Nigeria to ensure that community transmission is brought to the barest minimum?
Thank you very much. I'm actually speaking from Leeds, not London, in England. And yes, what Nigeria needs to do to curtail transmission quickly is to test and test and test more. Because when you test and look for the disease and you can find it, it's much quicker to isolate and then to trace contacts and therefore suppress the transmission of the disease.
Okay, testing, they say, is very vital in the fight against coronavirus. Some people call it a war, actually. So what can you tell us about it, and what can we learn from the London experience, from the UK experience?
Testing is definitely a powerful weapon in the fight against coronavirus, because you need to know who's got the disease and therefore need to know how to trace the contact, because it is highly contagious, and the earlier you diagnose and therefore can trace the contact of the index, you have to suppress. And testing, various tests, but the one that is important in this context is the diagnostic test, which is a molecular test. And as you can see, even in Nigeria, that the centers that are testing are finding more cases. So the more you look for it, the more you find them. And one advice from the CK experience I give to the NCDC is that they really need to decentralize testing quickly. That was a mistake many countries in Europe and America made at the initial stages. So they need to decentralize testing quickly, and they also need to use various platforms for the test and not just focus on using one. The reason for that is because this is pandemic, there is a shortage of reagents for many of the platforms. So the more platform that you have, the higher chances that you will get the reagent to do the testing. And also, there's a need to look inward to see if some of the reagents could be produced in Nigeria, because really there is a big scramble for the reagents now. And this is a good time to look inward, and this is a good time for Nigeria to think globally but act locally in an approach to COVID-19 suppression and coping with it.
You're talking about vaccine and specific cure for coronavirus. The UK Business Secretary Alok Sharma just announced that the British government has set up a vaccine task force to find a coronavirus vaccine. Do we see a possibility of it in the near future soon?
Definitely, there will be a vaccine. It's just a question of when it will be found. And the process of developing a vaccine is laborious and it takes time. And you need to ensure that the vaccine will be effective and will be one that will not give the disease to the people you're giving it to. And all of those takes various stages and various times to develop. But the UK government is definitely committed to that, and they are heavily investing in that. And they're not the only one. Most other developed countries are in the race to find a vaccine, because we need to find a vaccine to help the society to develop a herd immunity to the disease. Otherwise, you need to take a long time for it to infect a lot of people for us to develop an effective herd immunity.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Olorundu. Rotimi actually joined us from Leeds. Thank you so much for your insight on Network News. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. And Dr. Olorundu, Rotimi will be on 101 at 10:30 tonight. All NTA stations are expected to hook up to the network service. You're still watching the news at 9. A break beckons. We'll be right back. Do stay.
This is not a joke. It is a matter of life and death. Mosques in Mecca and Medina have been closed. The Pope celebrated Mass on an empty St. Peter's Square. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris held Easter Mass with less than 10 people. India, Italy, and France are in complete lockdown. Other countries are in the process of following suit. We cannot be lax.
Uncle Kim just called me. His wife just gave birth. Hey! If you not be God, though, now who go do am? Now who go do am? Hey, I thank God. Boy or girl?
I was too excited to ask. Let me get my phone and call him. Mama, it's a... Mama? What's wrong?
So, I no fit see my grandpikin now as dem do obodo oyibo.
Mama, I have a surprise that will cheer you up.
Introducing Sunday Data Plan. Enjoy Sunday browsing. 200 Naira gets you a whopping 1.25 gigabytes. Unlimited.
Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If you want to elect a new secretary, we fit
do one for WhatsApp, or for Skype, or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
It's time to take responsibility. So I'm staying home, watching videos and learning as well. We are all aware of the pandemic hitting the world today. The COVID-19 virus is real. A big thank you to all our health workers, doctors, nurses, everybody fighting this pandemic in their own way. Please stay home, save lives. Prevention is better than cure. Stay responsible.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Thanks for staying with us. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association, Pengasan, has alleged that 22 of its workers were illegally arrested and detained by the Rivers State Police Commissioner Mustafa Danora at the State COVID-19 Isolation Center in Port Harcourt. Kisley Amaju reports that the State Police Commissioner declined comment when contacted on the matter.
Pengasan ExxonMobil branch chairman Razak Obe and secretary Kingsley Dodua said in a statement that the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State with his team and our top military commander intercepted the convoy conveying 21 workers of the company alongside their chief security officer on their way to Port Harcourt.
So in a nutshell, that's what has happened, and we do not understand clearly what is actually going on. But as leaders in this union, we have a responsibility to cry out to the government and to ask government to intervene.
Investigation revealed that the people are at the isolation center at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium. Rivers State government has on its part maintained that visitors to the state must subject themselves to a 14-day isolation period, having signed an executive order closing its boundaries.
ExxonMobil brought in 22 people to Rivers State without telling us so that they will quarantine and be tested.
NTA News visited the State Police Headquarters at Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, where the Commissioner of Police, Musa Dandara, declined comment on the matter. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Now, as Rivers Command gets new police commissioner, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Muhammad Adamu, has ordered the posting and redeployment of the following senior police officers: CP Dandaura Mustafa, CP Provost, Force Headquarters, Abuja; CP Joseph Ogumbum Mukan, Police Service Commission and CP Rivers Command; CP Musa Azzi, FDC CP Anti-Fraud Unit. In a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer DCP Frank Uba, the IGP charges the affected commissioners of police to diligently and professionally discharge their duties in their new areas of responsibilities. The posting and the redeployment of the affected senior police officers is with immediate effect. As one who believes in public service and as a servant of the people, President Muhammadu Buhari in his first election in 2015 said, and I quote, he belonged to everybody and belonged to nobody, and expects same commitment from his aides and other members of his administration. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says President Buhari believes in loyalty and truthfulness and has shown commitment in this regard as a number of ranking officials have been shown the way out at various times, simply on account of questionable integrity usually done on the basis of evidence and proof. The presidency expresses disappointment over a politician accusing unnamed individuals in the administration of unnamed transgression, asking the politician to come up with evidence and proof if he has any. The statement also employs Nigerians to join hands with the government at this critical time to battle against coronavirus pandemic. Nigeria says it has drawn a red line on allegations of racism against her citizens in China. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Oyema says the federal government is planning to evacuate Nigerians willing to return from China once the maltreatment is established. Usman Aliu reports.
A situation that smacks of racism
This briefing is a demonstration of anger and disbelief by the Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister over harassment of Nigerians, including eviction from hotels and forceful collection of blood samples in the southern city of Gwangju. Even though the Minister of Foreign Affairs say there are conflicting reports, Nigeria is demanding Chinese government to address the concern. Those allegations, he explained, would be documented to challenge authorities in Beijing.
Contrary to what we had believed, that the situation was now fully under control, stabilized, and that there were no longer any issues, it became apparent that that there were still very distressing incidents, and that it all, that it was almost as if it was an institutional attack on the rights and the dignity of Nigerians and Africans.
Before this briefing, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has invited Chinese ambassador who said the government of China is not in support of racism whatsoever. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Thank you, Usman Aliu. Based on our report on 22 ex-mobile staff arrested in Rivers State, I have a telephone interview with Pengassan President Michael O'Hare. If you can hear me, welcome to Network News.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, in an earlier interview today, you expressed concern over the safety of about 21 members of your association detained by the Rivers State government. Can you give us a situation report on what is going on right now?
Okay, first of all, it is an unfortunate incident. It ought not to have happened in the first place. About 21 of them, yesterday, we are arrested and taken hostage by the security agencies under the Rivers State Police Command. And they were taken to the stadium at Elekahia Road in Port Harcourt. These colleagues were going to quarantine for 14 days at Intel's before going out to the offshore to work. And the information we have is that these people, we are held hostage by the authorities of Rivers State Police Command. And for us, it is very, very unacceptable. At the time, people are in the comfort of their homes with their loved ones. We have these great men and women who are working round the clock to ensure that the oil flows.
So what is happening now?
What is happening actually has not changed from what happened yesterday. As at now, the last information I got is that the people are still there. There are about 19 men and 2 women. They are in the coastal buses since yesterday. They've not had their baths. They are just like people who are just refugees. So we have taken the complaint to the various authorities, and we are believing that they're supposed to do the needful. Otherwise, we have to help them to do the needful.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike O'Hara. He is the Pengassan president. I appreciate you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
There was a fire outbreak today at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Lockdown unlocked at the INEC headquarters, Abuja. No thanks to fire outbreak. The main story building standing tall, overlooking the adjoining smaller ones. These flats, separated from the main building, houses the media center and the elections and political parties monitoring department. And at about 11 a.m. Friday, smoke was sighted at the elections and political parties monitoring department.
A few staff in the office of the director, election and party monitoring, and they noticed smoke coming out in the office. So they rushed out and then made sure that and went to the fire service within the commission itself, who came to begin to make attempts to put out the fire.
No life was lost, but
in terms of actual damage, some of the things we lost are photocopiers, computers, and other office equipment. But there's no serious and fundamental damage done to any of our critical documents and materials.
This brings to 3 major fire incidents in the Federal Capital Territory in less than 2 weeks. First was the Treasury House, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and now the INEC headquarters. All attributed to electrical faults, and there is a call for more prudence. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
And Kebbi State Medical Store has been gutted by fire, with drugs and equipment worth millions of naira lost to the inferno. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu has details of the disaster.
Muda Lawal Market is the biggest market in Bauchi metropolis. The fire was believed to have started when a vehicle loaded with mattresses caught fire and later on spread to nearby shops. Chairman of the Muda Lawal Market Association, Bala Maikaji, described the
We apologize for the loss of audio in that report. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has described as extremely horrifying the news of the death of 14 persons and injury to many from a fire incident at an IDP camp in Ngala, Borno State. Naja'atu Tijani has details.
Reacting to the sad incident, President Muhammadu Buhari directed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to investigate and report the circumstances leading to the fire, as well as advise on ways to avert a future occurrence. He further directed that urgent assistance be given to victims, as he prayed for the repose of the souls of those who died in the incident and the quick recovery of the injured. Meanwhile, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Saidia Umar Farouk, commiserates with the families who lost their loved ones in the inferno at the camp for internally displaced persons in Ngala local government area of Borno State. Similarly, Senate President Ahmed Lawan commiserated with the government and people of Borno State over the tragic incident.
To cushion the effect of the lockdown in Abuja, FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliu has flagged off the distribution of palliative materials to the 6 area councils of the territory to cushion the effect at the sit-at-home order. The minister maintained that all hands must be on deck to ensure that the poor and vulnerable got the materials. Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Revealing that a truckload of 25,000 condiments and 25,000 bags of rice will be taken to Abuja for onward distribution to the vulnerable in rural communities. The Minister of State, FCT, Ramatu Tijani Aliu, said the exercise will be done across the 6 area councils, making a total of 600,000 bags of rice and 600,000 bags of condiments.
If you take an arithmetic of at least 5 people per household. Now we give you a total of 5 people multiplied by the 100 targeted poor and vulnerable in each area council.
Receiving the items on behalf of his council, Chairman of Abuja Area Council Abdurrahman Ajia appreciated the FCT administration for the palliative, adding that the residents are in full confidence that the administration is on the right track.
And I'm sure with the number so mentioned, which will be confirmed by us to ensure that what is given to us is what is getting down to our people.
The FCT administration maintained that the palliative are not designed for the indigenous people or any political party, as been speculated in some quarters, added that all structures of distribution would be followed to ensure transparency and accountability. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Izumba, NTS.
And in continuous effort to cushion the effect of COVID-19 challenges among some vulnerable individuals in the country, the federal government has continued the distribution of palliative items in some states. Let's hear more from Gufan Shaji.
In Katsina State, Shehu Adamu reports that the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons distributed food items, drugs and sanitary packages worth millions of naira in the state.
We have over 290 IDP camps in Nigeria with a population of about 2.3 million people. Obviously, government cannot do it alone.
At Ado Ekiti, the National Coordinator Conditional Cash Transfer Program monitored the word-to-word distribution of the fund to beneficiaries in some rural communities.
The feedback we are getting is that the money and the training has been very useful because the program is not just about giving money, it's about building capacity.
For some residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, their joy knew no bounds as the NPower beneficiaries received their March stipends from the federal government.
Most people are locked down at home, who are family persons. Even those that are single are not finding it very funny to feed. So with the payment now, I think it will go a long way to relieve people.
And from Niger State, Etsu Nupe and Chairman Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, has flagged off the distribution of palliative food items across the 6 local government areas that make up the emirate.
With this gesture, small thing, but it's very big. We'll be able to carry our people along.
In Abuja, Gufan Shaji and
Lagos is our first stop tonight, and Dotun Ogunyome is standing by with reports from that axis. Hello, Dotun. Hope you're keeping safe.
Thank you, Jumai. Of course, I am doing so, and hope you're doing so as well. The Nigerian Institute of Medical Research has the capacity to sequence coronavirus cases to determine when there is a mutation and also certify intermediate COVID-19 results. Director General of the Institute, Professor Babatunde Salako, disclosed this in a chat with Joyken Abakbuya.
Since the emergence of coronavirus in 2019, research institutes the world over have been working non-stop to find a cure and a vaccine for the pandemic. While the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research is not part of the search for a cure, its Director General says it is currently involved in the production of a viral transport medium for the transportation of COVID-19 samples tested in Lagos.
We have plans working with Lagos State government to look at some drugs that have been observed to have some effect on the virus. And we are about starting a trial now in conjunction with the Lagos State government. And we are also going to contact other isolation centers around the country if we have enough funds to do that, to look at which drugs, for example, out of all of this can be useful to our own patients in Nigeria.
Reacting to U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to withdraw funding to the World Health Organization, Professor Babatunde Salako points out that the impact will be grievous for Africa, especially now that the world is fighting COVID-19.
Donors may leave one day, and this threat is an evidence that that can happen. And if donors leave, then government has to be the one to stand in that stead.
The Director General urged Lagos residents who have a travel history and have had contact with COVID-19 patients and those who have symptoms to take advantage of the drive-through testing ongoing at the institute. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
While the coronavirus pandemic continues to ravage global economy, the latest quarterly report from the International Maritime Bureau indicates a sharp rise in piracy and criminality in the Gulf of Guinea. Key players in the industry say this is a clarion call that the coronavirus could be the basis for the proliferation of crime, and to frontally address the problem, the Nigerian maritime domain is activating aggressive surveillance along the country's exclusive economic zone. Michael Olaleye reports.
The report, which covers the first 3 months of 2020, shows that 47 attacks were recorded on the sea globally, in contrast to the 38 attacks within the same period in 2019. The Gulf of Guinea, which remains world's piracy hotspot, recorded 21 attacks, in which 17 crew were kidnapped in 3 incidents. While the International Bureau is advocating onboard security measures, the maritime industry in Nigeria is strengthening cooperation and information sharing. This meeting with the Navy is aimed at addressing issues ranging from detention and arrest of vessels, enhancing joint security in the secure anchorage area, and integrate operational surveillance.
I tried to study the possibility of the integration of Vulcan I and the C4I, so that we can have real-time, one-time information in terms of intelligence gathering and what we have to do to ensure we have a proper and adequate control of our own waterways.
The Navy is also open to the idea of integrating the hydrographic department of both agencies in the interest of maritime safety.
The technological know-how to integrate both systems are now available, and that is a very good step forward in placing the necessary platforms to share information between the two agencies.
It was jointly agreed that once these measures are fully integrated, the nation's waterways will be more secured and its exclusive economic zone safeguarded. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And those are our contributions. Time now for a commercial break. Network News continues.
Amaka, ani kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Sọ́n tó ṣẹlẹ̀ fún mi.
I just want to be alone and to be.
I will not leave my house.
They did what? Lady, I don't know what to do. I don't know.
My way.
Mama, what's happening? What's happening?
Now you know. Now so we did.
Follow my law.
Reach where we did today. So
but this is my husband's
everybody they try. We did catchy feelings. We did cry. Life is sweet if you try. If you do better thing, you go thrive. Mama.
Stay where you are.
Amaka!
You are going nowhere.
Amaka!
For blockbuster movies like this, series and much more, download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you know tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we see the shoot, so
So while we finish up this movie, you can download the Airtel TV app and watch movies like this and many more. No subscription or free access.
Joe, give me pattern. And she won't be showing me Johnny.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy for 7 days data free. Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network. Cadbury Hot Chocolate 3-in-1, a delicious combination of rich cocoa and wholesome goodness of milk. Just add hot water to get an instant chocolatey treat. Cadbury Hot Chocolate 3-in-1. Just add hot water. Available in stores at 18 naira.
Is on your my camera.
Stay home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited. Wake up, nothing can hold us down. Get up, born to wear the crown.
Breakfast your day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Bonvita is packed with vitality and a richer, creamier taste.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, awesome screen, awesome camera.
Long-lasting battery.
Awesome screen, awesome camera.
Long-lasting battery life. Go relive on GoTV. Welcome to GoTV's Relive Channels. This is a world of sports where you can relive the best sports moments on GoTV.
She does! Oh, he's got it too! Oh, they've got another one! Oh, see! Really is their night in Paris!
Go relive the most epic stories in sports on GoTV from our Relive channels on SuperSport on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
It's good to know you're still there. The Nigerian Air Force, in the current effort to sustain the fight against insurgency and other crimes in the country, has unveiled a reactivated Mi-35P attack helicopter in Port Harcourt. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, says it is another feat in the maintenance of fighter aircrafts and jets. Robinson Dere today reports that the Air Chief also inaugurated a workforce tailoring workshop currently engaged in production of face masks and personal protective equipment.
The Mi-35P helicopter is one of the fighter planes reactivated by the Nigeria Air Force. The aircraft was inducted into the service in the year 2000 and became grounded in 2016, while the reactivation process started in 2018. The Chief of Air Staff maintained that the skills and experiences of the NAF engineers will position the force for the sustenance of other aircrafts in the country.
we are also excited because we are very proud of our technicians and our engineers that have worked around the clock to ensure that this aircraft is back into flying status. The work took almost 2 years, but I think it's worth it. At the end of the day, at least they are familiar now with how to remove major components of this aircraft and put it back.
A NAF tailoring workshop manufacturing pilot uniforms and face masks was also inaugurated by the Air Force boss. The crew also inspected other facilities within the Port Harcourt Air Force Base. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
As the one-week total lockdown begins in Kano to curb the spread of coronavirus, major streets and markets are deserted by residents to comply with the order. Mohammed Rabiu Ali has a situation report.
The rise in cases of COVID-19 pandemic in Kano necessitates Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje to lock down the state, a step to prevent the spread of the disease. This is the busiest state road in the heart of the metropolis. Now it is deserted as a result of the lockdown. Murtala Muhammad Way, Zaria and ever-busy Ibrahim Tire roads are all now empty. NTA camera lens try to figure out the faults on major roads, but efforts to no avail. The situation is the same at Kantinkwari Market, Sabangari and Singa, which are all under lock and key. A situation that seems to be critical.
Currently, based on our observations, our supervisions to the various points and cities in the state, people are obeying these orders. Not even within the town, the main city, even all other villages within the state. And this shows that the lockdown mood is activated. Mohammed Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
We'll take another break now. The news continues in a moment.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
Aggressive disease containment.
Now on lockdown.
It is one of the measures taken by the country.
How long is all this for? Scientists say that's the big question.
News that connects you globally, from the world to your home, with 4 leading news channels 24/7. Live breaking stories on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari has joined the government and people of Kano State in mourning former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Alhaji Aliyu Umar San, who died on Friday, recalling his sacrifice and dedication, commitment to the pursuit of justice in the country. The president commiserates with family members of the erudite lawyer, Nigerian Bar Association and all professional colleagues, especially in the public service, affirming that the deceased dedicated his life and intellect to the service of the country and humanity. President Buhari believes Umar's investment of time and resources in handling some of the most sensitive criminal cases in the country will always be remembered. President Buhari prayed that the Almighty God will grant the departed a peaceful rest and comfort his family. Similarly, President Buhari has also condoled with Emir of Daura Alhaji Farouk Umar over the loss of his wife, Binta Umar Farouk. In a telephone call on the Emir on Friday, President Buhari said, Well, that's it on the news tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night and stay safe.